Points.
Greetings, Earthlings. It is I, your host, the Broad, that points the broad with the points. It is I, Tyler the Lady. And today we're going to start off by saying, you're a flower. Water yourself. If you haven't already, today, please take the time. Take a sip of water. Because you are a unique life form. And the answers lie within you. And if you look and you ask, probably 75-80% of the time, the answer, it's water. It's also important to think of yourself as a flower or a tree or what have you. When you think about growth, and when you think about the times where maybe you're hidden from the world and it may seem sort of dark and the progress may seem rather slow, but the mountain you're climbing, the growth that you're making, eventually you exceed the surface. You go beyond and you grow into a beautiful flower or a large tree. Not that trees cannot also be beautiful. They are absolutely wondrous. I love to just look up at trees. It reminds you of how small you are in comparison to everything around you, but there's also just a lot of connection that can be made through watching the growth of other living things on this planet. And that really just helps to provide new perspective. And new perspective, it is like growth. It is like growing up and being able to see from up and now that bird's nest that has been built atop your tree. Like, oh, wow. Like, Joe Dirt, I can see down your shirt. Perspective. Life is perspective. And let's just jump right into today's fundamental phrase, because before this, honestly, I recorded a whole other podcast and then I went to go edit it and it got deleted. But that just happens sometimes, and that's just the universe saying, like, that wasn't meant to be, and that's a-okay. But today's fundamental phrase is not that, it is this. Pain is inevitable. And suffering, well, that is optional. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And I really do laugh at just about everything that goes quote unquote wrong. There is no right. There is no wrong. There really isn't. And we can choose to suffer and be upset, or we can choose to view it as comedically bad, which is what I choose to do. In life, there are just times where stuff will just go so bad right? And I'm using bad here in air quotes because nothing is good or bad, nothing is right or wrong. But when stuff just does not go according to plan, we'll say, when life is throwing you for some loops, I just can't help but laugh in the moment. It takes, we'll call them reggies, regular people. It takes them probably more time to get to the point of laughter. And it is something that I do remind my coaching clients of, sometimes they'll just be saying stuff and then they'll just have like this look on their face where they're just like, this is, and they won't say stupid, but they're like, this is silly. Like, what am I even doing here? Or like, why am I even wasting my time on this? And I'm like, it's a real thing right now. What you're going through, whatever it is, and maybe you're going through something right now and you need to hear this. So listen, whatever you're going through, it's all temporary. And your pain, it's real. It is. And you're allowed to feel that pain. There's not a time limit on grief or pain. There's not. Everything in life is a choice here. When you choose to laugh at it, if you choose to laugh at it, it's an option. And so just the reminder sometimes of, will you laugh at this in the future? Almost always I get a resounding yes. Everybody is like, I will. Because whether or not this is the end of whatever this period is, whatever the subject is, I know that this is propelling me to new levels of consciousness, new levels of being, new levels of growth. And so in that moment, they're able to see that suffering, it's flipped. There's a new perspective. And I think a lot in society, there is a secrecy of pain. There's a lot that's emerging now in regards to pain that has been kept secret. And even as a child, I think of the secrecy of pain that I kept from my parents. And the torment that, is kept in keeping these secrets. And we could go off on all the pain that I've experienced in my life. There's not enough time in this podcast. There's just not. It would be like multiple episodes for episodes going on and on and on and on. But that's not what we're here to do, because pain is not the story. Pain is just a pit stop. And there really is a journey of pain, or at least with myself, I've noticed there's a journey of pain and suffering. And heavily tied into secrecy as well. And I don't know about you listening to this. I know my sister and I have spoken about this, of when we would get injured in our youth, as you do as a child. It's okay. It's okay to get hurt. No one's mad at you. It's, it happens. Accidents happen. It's okay. We learn, we grow. But for some reason, growing up, I was always terrified that my parents were going to be upset with me. And I must have been like 11 or 12, and it was just a rough day, you guys. And I let the pain build so much. And for me, when I would experience pain, or just like anything that I was uncomfortable with, I would run away. Like, in any way that I could, I would just try to escape it. I would just run away. And it all started with a soccer game. I was the keeper for my team for the first half, anyways. And no goals were scored on me. None. I don't know why. The coach felt the need to switch us at the half and bench me, but because of that decision, the other keeper had a goal scored on her. This is all how I'm viewing this in my 11, 12-year-old mind. And I was pissed. I was pissed that the coach benched me, because had she not, we probably would have won. That goal wouldn't have got by me. And yes, that is my pride and ego that was speaking 10,000%. And, when we went to go eat after that at a fast food establishment that will not be named. And when I was there, there was a bee in there, and this bee, I don't know if it was a queen bee and had 3 stingers, or if its stinger just did not fall out. But as this bee stung me and tumbled down me, it stung me 3 times. 3 times this bee stung me. And people don't believe me when I say that I was an angry child, or that I had anger issues as a child. But you guys, I was pissed about the soccer game. Then you throw the gasoline on the fire with these 3 bee stings. I was through the roof. When we got home to my house, I was like, get the bikes, we're going for a ride. And just fueled with rage, we hop on our bicycles. And I lived in a very hilly neighborhood. I grew up in unincorporated King County, Washington. There's so many incredibly steep hills. And so I had to ride up a giant hill and then around the corner and then down a giant hill to go anywhere. And so as we're going, we don't have helmets. We left in rage. We left in fury. This vision was so clouded. The blinders, you guys, they were just they were on tight. I was just laser focused with rage. And at that time, I had really enjoyed doing burnouts on my bike. You grab the back brake, you're on the little concrete. It's a fun thing. It's my subconscious mind took the wheel. No joke. Because as I'm going around in this rage down this hill, I grabbed the front brake instead of the back brake. And I flip over the handlebars, obviously. And because I'm not wearing a helmet, I put both of my arms out and I break both wrists at the same time. And I remember rolling over. I don't remember it actually happening. I blacked out for the actual event. I remember seeing the front brake, and then I remember rolling over onto my wrists in the middle of the road, because for some reason that is and was a comforting position for me. I even now will still do it, and I'm like, why am I doing this? It just reminds me of when my wrists were broken. It's so funny how physical movements can transport you through time. That is one of them. And my friend could not get the backpack open. I had just been given a cell phone to take out to places with me when I was going on long bike rides. And oh my goodness, she was in panic. Fear really hits you. Like adrenaline, it really hits different ways for different people. And hers was definitely more of like the freeze reaction there. And my neighbors, they ran out. Well, they weren't even my direct neighbors, but in the neighborhood, these people run out. And they're like, oh my gosh, do we need an ambulance? I'm like, no, call my mom. Like, I'm the sane one here screaming bloody murder, but also call my mother. And so they do. And she comes and she picks me up and I'm crying and I'm screaming. And I ask her if she's mad at me. Are you mad at me? And she's like, no, I'm not mad at you. And I'm freaking out because I think my dad, he's going to be pissed. Mad at me in my little brain. I don't know why in my little brain. I always think that everybody's going to be mad at me when I mess up. But that was what my brain told me. And man, I got home and I was still crying and the pain, right? I'm letting this pain, I'm feeling this suffering. I'm in the deepest depths of my inner turmoil here. And my dad comes out with a bag of peas and he says, are you okay? And I'm crying and I just say, are you mad at me? And he says, why would I be mad at you? I just want to make sure you're okay. And from that point on, the whole drive to the urgent care, I laughed. Once I released myself of the fear and anxiety of other people's opinions, might I point out here, I was just able to laugh about it. In the moment, I was able to laugh about it. And I recognize you might not be this person. You might not be able to laugh about stuff in such a quick fashion. But it is an option. And it was an option that I chose the entire time that they were taking x-rays, which they like move your broken limb in different angles and different positions to get these wondrous photos to tell you that, hey kid, you have 2 buckle fractures in your wrists. Good job. And you're going to have to wear some splints. I know you love wall ball, kid, but you can't play wall ball anymore. Not for a while anyway. But this is it's a prime example, right, of the power of perspective, of what we're holding on to, and of how we choose to view the world, because it is our choice. And I do remind you to really trust yourself. Allow yourself to make your own opinion with everything, right? With these fundamental phrases, with the things that maybe you're hearing about people out in the world or things out in the world. Absolutely, take it into consideration, but allow yourself to make your own opinion and to truly trust yourself. And this is where I'm going to wrap it up for today's episode. I'm going to remind you that you can follow me. I was going to say us because I have 2 handles that I'm going to give you right here, at Broad Points for the podcast specific, and at Tyler the Lady is me. Oh my gosh, it's me. I am the broad with the points. And if you do still use email, or you want to type something out that you don't want to send in a DM on Instagram, that's okay. I do have an email. It's broadpointspodcast@gmail.com. If you're listening to this on some sort of streaming device where you can like, rate, review, subscribe, please, it just helps us out. It just helps more people get to hear what I have to say, what we have to share. And don't forget, pain is inevitable, and suffering is optional.